You know, when Elon Musk talks about our future with AI, he paints this picture that's, well, it's pretty intense. He describes this supersonic tsunami that's going to change absolutely everything. But what if the way we look at this tsunami changes everything that comes next? What if there are solutions he, and maybe all of us, are missing? Let's try on a different pair of glasses and see what we can find.
So Musk is starting from a really stark place here. He sees this unbelievable technological force just barreling towards us. And when he looks around, he's basically saying we are completely unprepared. And that one sentence right there, it just captures this high-stakes, almost, brace for impact view he has of the whole thing.
But what if we do? What if there's already a way to think about this kind of massive, systemic change, a framework that's just been sitting there, waiting for us to apply it? That's the big question we're going to explore.
All right, so first things first, let's really get inside Elon Musk's head and understand the future he sees coming. He uses some seriously powerful language to talk about it.
I mean, think about that phrase for a second, a supersonic tsunami. It's not just a big wave, it's a wave moving faster than the speed of sound. What does that even mean? It means the change hits you before you can even hear it coming. It feels totally unstoppable, like a force of nature that you can't do anything about.
And he's not just talking to metaphors. He gets really specific. He's talking about a bumpy road for the next, say, 3 to 7 years. He thinks white-collar jobs, basically anything that's just shuffling information around, are first on the chopping block. And then you get this really weird paradox, this idea of incredible wealth and prosperity happening at the exact same time as massive social unrest. His potential fix? Something he calls universal high income, or UHI. And the engine driving all of this is what he sees as a cutthroat, Darwinian race for AI dominance between countries.
And all of this kind of boils down to this one big dilemma he keeps coming back to. He frames our entire future as a choice between two legendary sci-fi visions. The question he's always asking is, how do we make sure we get Star Trek and not Terminator?
And this is such a great way to see the two paths, right? On one hand, you've got Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek, a future filled with abundance, where people are driven by curiosity and exploration. Basically an awesome future, as Musk calls it. But then, on the other hand, you've got James Cameron's Terminator, a world of chaos, rogue AIs, and this brutal competition for survival. Musk even throws in a fear of a Wall-E future where we all just become, unchallenged blobs on a couch.
And look, this whole competitive Darwinian thing, it's not just some abstract idea for him. He's looking at the world, right now, at the geopolitical reality of it all. He sees this race for AI dominance, especially between the US and China, as the defining fight of our time, and he thinks the current trends are pointing in a very clear direction.
Okay, so that's the world through Elon Musk's eyes. It's a high-stakes, bumpy, competitive race to the future. But now, what I want us to do is switch gears completely. Let's take those exact same problems and look at them through a totally different lens. So what if this whole winner-take-all competitive view isn't the only way to look at it? This is where this other framework, sometimes called the Blueprint for Harmony, comes in, and it offers a completely different take. It's all built around this idea of cooperative evolution, the idea that complex systems don't have to stay in a competitive state forever. They can actually mature into more stable, cooperative ones.
And you know what's crazy? The best example of this in action actually comes from Musk himself. Think back to before 2014. The electric vehicle industry was this cutthroat, zero-sum game. Patents were basically weapons to keep your competition down. Then, in June of 2014, Musk does something totally out of left field. He open sources all of Tesla's patents. He basically said that getting the whole world to adopt EVs was more important than Tesla's competitive edge. He chose cooperation over competition, and it sped up the entire industry. That's a perfect example of what this looks like in the real world.
Now, this framework isn't just some nice-sounding idea. It actually comes with a specific tool, a way to measure the maturity of a system, to see where it is on that journey from pure competition to cooperation. Let's check it out.
Okay, so the key concept here is called perpetuity, and it's represented by that Greek letter, phi. Just think of it like a maturity score for literally any system, whether it's an ecosystem or an economy. The score goes from 0 to 1. A low phi score means the system is new, it's unstable, it's all about short-term survival. A high phi score means it's mature, it's stable, and it's built to last.
And what's so cool about this idea is you can apply it to anything. Like in nature, an invasive species trying to take over a new area. That's a lo-fi system. But an ancient rainforest, with all its complex and stable relationships, that's super high-fi. Same goes for politics. A nation right after a conflict, with no trust, that's a lo-fi. But a really integrated partnership like the European Union, that's a hi-fi system. It even works for how we think. Panicking in a crisis is lo-fi, but thinking about future generations is hi-fi.
All right, so here's the big question. What happens when we take this lens, this idea of system maturity, and we apply it back to all those challenges that Musk was talking about? Does it show us a new way forward? Maybe an unseen path?
So when you put these two worldviews next to each other, the difference is it's huge. Where Musk sees this inevitable dog-eat-dog competition, the blueprint lens says, hey, let's focus on the potential for cooperative evolution. Where Musk sees universal high income as basically just issuing checks to keep people calm, this lens asks, what would a truly mature, stable system for a post-work world even look like? It just completely reframes the whole conversation.
Let's get specific. That huge AI race between the US and China that Musk is so worried about? Well, through this lens, that's not the end game. It's actually a sign of an immature, lo-fi system. It's unstable, it's inefficient, and it's all about short-term winning instead of long-term stability. The goal, then, isn't just to win this chaotic game, it's to evolve the game itself into something more mature.
And what about all those jobs getting automated and this idea of universal high income? Okay, so a low-maturity solution is just reacting to the problem, issuing checks to manage the bumpy ride and keep the peace, as Musk puts it. But a high-maturity approach, that's being proactive. That's about consciously designing the institutions and systems we need for a stable post-work world, long before we're in the middle of a crisis.
And that really brings us all the way back to the biggest question of all, doesn't it? Is this AI future just something that's going to happen to us, or is it something we can actually design? Now, looking at it this way doesn't give us all the answers, but it definitely reveals a path we weren't seeing before. I mean, Musk himself proved with Tesla that one conscious choice can shift an entire system from pure competition towards cooperation. And that leaves you with a really powerful thought, right? If that worked for cars, could it be the key to designing a future with AI that we all actually want to live in?